Hi, Amar. Thank you so much for accepting and doing this. Welcome to the Futuristic Parenting Decoded with Codevidhya.
Hi Sandesh, thanks for inviting me over. Yeah, looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, I'm too very interested to understand what you do, and what we do at Codevidhya is something that you might shed a lot of light on,
hmm
because you are in the same industry. So if I know you're a co-founder of ShipThis, which is a SaaS-based company. But before we get into that, I want to know about your journey. Tell us a little bit about your journey, and was becoming an entrepreneur always a plan?
Sure. I did my engineering from PES College,
Okay,
Bangalore.
me
Uh,
too.
oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Then I worked in Cisco for a bit.
Okay.
I was a software engineer one in Cisco for about a one
Okay.
and a year. Uh,
Okay.
Then I left Cisco to start something called Simply Moving. So Simply Moving is a home rental company.
Okay.
So it was there for about 2 years or 3 years, and it didn't go that well. I mean, of course, that's how your first startup usually don't go that as well
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
you would expect, right?
Yeah.
I was the CTO there, and I used to
Mm-hmm.
head all of the technology development.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, I met one of my relative who was in a freight forwarding and logistics space, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how Ship This came to be.
Okay.
So it you could say in a way entrepreneurship was not always planned, but I
Uh-huh.
always wanted to build a product and
Right.
do something about it. So
Correct.
maybe it was sort of intertwined. So
Wow.
you wouldn't say that I'm a true entrepreneur because I don't do those kinds of sales
Uh-huh.
and those stuff, but you could say I'm more of a product builder and more of a CTO sort of a thing. But yeah,
Understood. Understood. That's basically that's how something that we start off, and I'm
exactly.
sure you have a team who's doing this.
Yes.
I'm
So
so
now
sorry.
we
There's a
have
small.
about 15 people in
Just
my
one
team.
second.
Yeah.
Is there something? There's a small disturbance somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Aren't you getting that? I'm getting this. Why am I getting this?
Do you want me to switch my
No, no,
headphone
no, no, no.
to
I don't
something
think it's
else?
the issue with yours. Okay, it's okay now. Okay, okay. I'm so sorry about that. We'll just continue. Yeah.
No
So you were
problem.
talking about
Yeah.
your team.
Yeah. So we have about 15 people in our team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
both full time as well as contractors. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
pretty big team. So it's come a long way. So we started about 3.5 years back,
Okay.
and we were just two people back then. Now it's about 15 people. And we are a
Wow.
completely bootstrapped company, so
Wow.
we haven't raised a single dollar in terms of investment yet, and we are thriving so far. So that's a good
Wow.
thing. Yeah,
So briefly, can you just tell us what does ship this do?
sure thing. So ShipThis is a cloud-based SaaS platform for freight
Okay.
forwarder and logistics companies. So sorry for throwing the jargons there. So freight forwarders are basically people who help move cargo from one location to another location, especially
Okay.
for large businesses. Say you have a
Okay.
container load of shipment, you want it to be
Mm-hmm.
moved from Mumbai to Dubai, you contact a
Mm-hmm.
freight forwarder, ask them to do all of the documentation work, all of the customs work, compliance work, and you move the cargo to their warehouse, and they move it to the end destination. So that's what freight
Okay.
forwarders do, and we help them
Wow.
streamline their business and
Mm-hmm.
give them a much more modern look to their
Mm.
operations
Yeah.
and helps them save money and various other things.
Wow, wow, that's a very interesting business. I think we can find different kinds of business that we can do, and SaaS is one of the most important thing for that, because from the last few years there has been a great potential. I mean, SaaS has always been important since the internet boom, but from the last few years it's become so interesting, and it has shown great potential in the world of tech. And I just want to ask you, like, even though it has crossed leaps and bounds, is this only the beginning for SaaS still?
It's a good question. So SaaS has always been there, as you rightly
Yeah.
said, right? So
Yeah.
you've seen it in Hotmail 25 years back. So that's
Yes.
still a SaaS. I mean, you had
Yeah.
email as a software.
Hmm.
Uh, we have definitely come a long way. Now, if you
Hmm.
open Gmail, it already helps you compose the email. I mean, you don't even
Yeah.
have to just say hello and it knows what to fill rest. So we've come a long way.
Exactly.
So there's definitely lot of potential. So again depends on the area you're looking at. I wouldn't say okay,
Hmm.
there's significant disruption is going to happen in the email space, but there are a lot of
Hmm.
other unexplored territories
Hmm.
wherein you might see significant improvements going forward.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and mostly linked with AI, I believe. But yeah, so lot of scope there. Yeah.
Yeah, like I love it that you spoke about AI because that was my next question. Where do you see AI being in the next few years? I mean, we've acquired so much of interest in AI, and what are the opportunities that future holds? Because I still believe that India is in a very nascent stage. I don't know, I might be wrong, but I feel it's in a very nascent stage, and the rest of the world is kind of doing big things. So, like, where do you think the future lies
Um,
for the entire world, basically, not just for India?
so it's very hard to predict future with AI because
Uh huh.
every year things keep changing, right?
Hmm.
So what's modern right now doesn't have to be the most up to date algorithm next year or up to date neural network model next year. So it
Yeah.
keeps changing. Uh, so one thing I've observed over the past few years, right, is AI is increasingly eliminating repeated tasks. So if you have something which is repetitive in nature, AI is increasingly eliminating it, and it's assisting in a lot of ways which you previously thought not possible. For example, it's assisting architects design better homes, right? and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
um, so imagine you have an architect, you using an AI model to generate filler content for their designs, and another logic which checks for the structural integrity of that particular design. So you're sort of reducing multiple architects' job and a structural engineer's job. So so there's definitely a lot of scope in terms of AI, but at the same time, it's gonna eat up a lot of jobs as we know it right now.
Oh.
So that's
Yeah.
something which is a little scary. But yeah, so this is a space where we need to focus on, especially have rules regarding how we are going to engage when it comes to AI, and yeah, definitely train the
Yeah.
next generation folks to
Yeah.
build next generation apps on this. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, so we at Codevidhya, we have a lot of children. From the age of 6 to 16, we teach them how to code. And AI is a big part of what we do. And they are very interested in learning AI because they're kind of exploring things that they thought they could only see on a TV screen or a computer screen. Do you think starting early from the age of 6 or 10 is going to help build this AI future that we're talking about?
Age 6, I believe it's too early, but there might be certain
Okay.
exceptional kids out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I wouldn't be able to comment on that one. But I don't know about AI per se, because AI is more of an application of what you would know, right? So from my understanding of AI, from my understanding of how it's working right now, you would need a solid mathematical background. You would need a solid linear algebra background to understand what's really happening. And that doesn't come until you are in engineering or in masters, right? So if if you ask me a question, can you teach them how to use AI logic? Maybe yes, you could teach them that, but you can't really teach them the concepts underlying it and concepts which build those modules and those algorithms, right? Because you need a graduate level mathematics understanding
Understood.
before you
Yeah.
can get
Yeah.
that.
But I'll
So,
just reframe. Instead of
mhm.
talking about AI, let me talk about coding as a whole. Say whether it
Okay.
could be app development, web development, or Python. So, what do you think? I'd like, because since you're in the
Definitely.
you've
So,
been a CTO. I mean,
mhm.
I want to know your aspect on that.
Yeah, coding definitely. So I feel
Hmm.
that coding should not as an add-on. It should be
Hmm.
like a regular subject you teach in
Yes.
schools,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
you have math, you have science, history, physics. So you need to have computer science as a computers more so programming as a regular subject, wherein you teach the kids how to code, how to do problem solving, how they can utilize their coding skill in real world, right? So like
Yeah.
just like you need to know arithmetic to do basic business at a local kirana. You would need coding at some point in time in the future. Even if you're not a programmer, you would need to understand the basics of it, because eventually everyone's going to use a software platform. Today, when we look at our system alone, right? We have freight forwarders from around the world. These are not tech oriented people, but they need to be tech oriented now because world is moving towards it, and they need to be able to quickly configure a few things. They need to be able to understand how integrations work between multiple different systems, even though they are not from tech background. So having some sort of coding knowledge helps, even if you are not going to plan to be in the tech industry, or just in the normal industry. So yes, coding
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, it's an invaluable tool, just like mathematics, but
Yeah.
maybe not graduate level coding at the age of 6, but yeah, the basics,
Of course.
something like
No. No.
some
Of course. Yeah.
yeah, so something like Scratch, or
Yeah.
yeah, like a hobby thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so that's what we at Codevidhya have been doing, so that we have Scratch, app development, web, Python. So these are
Hmm.
the basics where I think building a small subset in your mind that okay, this is what coding is. This is what I'm interested in. To build that small curiosity is very important, and like you said, it always comes through that. Why are we curious about cricket? Because we play it, and we grow up playing it. So I think it all comes down to that. So I want to ask you: do you wish you had the resources like what kids have right now?
Absolutely, man. I'm envious of today's generation. So the
Yeah.
amount of resources you have online is just tremendous. You have Coursera, you
Yeah.
have YouTube, you have.
Yeah.
I mean, just I mean, you don't even have to look hard. Just one simple search, and you find hundreds of resources out there. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
Back then, we still had resources. I mean, I'm not that old, but we still had resources, so we had to do away with the written resources rather than
Yeah.
a video resources of sorts, right? So because of the
Absolutely. Yeah.
bandwidth
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
various other constraints.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our projects would have been much better if we had Google back then. Like, or at least if we
Uh,
had the sources. We had laptops,
yeah.
but we did not have access to a
Yes.
smartphone back then. So I think I would also always miss out on an opportunity. And I keep thinking, if we even had digital payments back,
Uh-huh.
like few years back at least, it would have helped so many businesses, right? So because
Absolutely.
the world has come so far from having no UPI to UPI now, which has become such an integral part of the life. So I want to why I'm asking, we're talking about UPI and digital payment, is because
Hmm.
we've seen at a very small time that things have changed in the world of tech or fintech or anything. And what do you, as a
Hmm.
CTO, what do you think? What is your next thing? What do you say? Like, okay, this is going to be the next in the next 2 years. This is going to boom.
Okay, this question is very hard to predict. Everyone who has predicted has usually failed.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very rarely that you predict it in a right fashion. I would say AI is going to play a very big role, as I said, right? So you're going to have more intelligent platforms, which is going to
Correct.
do the work for you. right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, recently, if you noticed,
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft announced a plugin for Visual Studio Code. That's one of the very popular code editor via GitHub, of course. So what it
Yeah.
does is you can just describe the code and it fills up the code for you. You don't even
Mm.
have to code it in. So you're going to see more of those things
Yeah.
in this space, wherein, say, you have a complicated legal document. You want it to
Mm.
be weaved in a simple fashion. You give it to
Yeah.
AI. AI will give it back to you in a simple fashion. So these are
Correct.
some of the new products, cutting edge products, which are coming up, and they're solving real problems, right? So real problems which
Mm.
people are facing. And
Mm.
I believe this is the next big thing, wherein you're gonna use AI as a black box. Basically, right now, that's what
Mm.
people are referring
Yeah.
to when they use AI, and
Mm-hmm.
use it to in a real world application where it solves real pain point, because we are at a stage, especially when it comes to text processing and natural language processing. AI is almost comparable to humans, at least in those individual lines, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
we are getting there. So we are seeing a lot of useful applications coming up. So I would say that's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
next big thing, or rather, it's already happening. I'm
Yeah.
just making it
Happening.
a
Yeah.
big thing. Yeah,
Wow, I'm sure that's a very good insight actually, because I've always been thinking about AI that way, and I think we've seen a little too many movies where they've talking about AI in such a way that it's not even reached there, so it's kind of scary. Now I know you're not a parent, but I do want to ask you, say, if your child in the future believes that they have come to a certain age where they can understand and consume knowledge, would you be enrolling them to learn coding?
I would, as I said earlier, right? So I
Yeah,
would want schools to teach them
yeah,
real useful coding right from the beginning, because
yeah.
that's a tool. That's a modern
Hmm.
tool which you need. Just
Hmm.
like mathematics,
Hmm.
you need mathematics to
Hmm.
function in modern world. You would need
Hmm.
coding to function in modern world, even if you are not going to be a computer scientist or a
Hmm.
programmer in the future, right?
Hmm.
So yes, definitely. I mean, rather it should come from the education system itself, not as an
Yeah,
add-on or an optional. So I feel that
yeah,
that's something that should happen.
yeah. Do you feel like currently the traditional education system needs an overhaul?
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the biggest pain point in the current system, education
Uh
system,
huh.
it's changing over the period. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not remained the same
Correct.
till today. I mean,
Hmm.
nowadays teachers are putting in more efforts to
Hmm.
teach in a more interesting way
Yeah.
and stuff. But still, I believe we're still focused on the memorization based teaching,
Mm-hmm.
which just changes. I mean, improves your memory skills and nothing else.
Yeah.
I would like to see schools which are more problem solving oriented, wherein they
Hmm.
teach real problem solving rather than
Hmm.
just skills, right? Say, so you teach them
Absolutely.
mathematics or linear algebra or trigonometry. You need to show them where are you going to actually use it, not just show it in
Hmm.
a triangle. Okay, this is what you do, right?
Hmm.
You do differentiation, you do integration. So what is it actually used for? Not, I mean, it looks complicated in piece of paper, but when you actually show it in real world, it is very simple, right? So very simple
Yeah. Yeah.
concepts complicated in piece of paper. So I believe yeah, and I believe that you need more problem solving
Hmm.
type of courses which
Hmm.
focus on overall development
Hmm.
of someone, right? But yeah, so
Yeah.
you can only wish for it. I believe right now the changing the overall system in India, as big as a
Yeah.
country as India, so it's going to
Yeah.
be a long haul. Yeah,
Long process, I'm sure. So let's talk about parenting. I know you're not a parent, but I'm sure you've interacted with other parents. You know people who are parents, and we've had parents. So do you think parenting has changed over the years? Like, say, from our parents to now, how we are treating. Do you think that's happening, or there is still the same thing but a little bit of changes?
I still feel there is a lot of similarities between our
Yeah.
parents. As I said, I'm not very old. I'm just 28 now, right?
Yeah.
So there are similarities, of course.
Hmm.
But it is more becoming more and more open. They're willing to listen to kids. I believe that's because of all of the movies and all of these videos coming up online. Maybe because of that, so they're becoming more and more open.
Hmm.
But at the same times, they are stressing too much. They're putting too much pressure on the kids as well to make sure that they're academically very successful. Or yeah, they definitely have good intentions, but maybe not at the age of 5 and 6. I mean, that's the age to play. Maybe once you are in early teens, or once you're about 10, maybe that's when you need to start focusing on more on academics. As such. So that's what I believe. The reason for saying this is I was recently watching a documentary on Finnish education system. They're
Hmm.
considered to be the best in the world, and they just have, I believe, about 2 hours of uh, class per day for
Oh.
students up to age of 10. So they have lesser number of
Hmm.
hours in class and more in the playground, more in the labs, more uh, doing other things. And they are one of the most performant students in the world. They are the mathematic Olympiad champions. They perform really well for such a small country. They perform really well. So so I believe in that because I've seen research pointing towards that side of um, uh, education model. But yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
have a one fit all method in throughout the world.
Yeah.
So
I understand. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
changes depending on the culture,
Do
depending
you
on
know
other
the title
variables.
of this documentary?
I can probably share it with you once
Yeah.
this podcast is over, and I can yeah,
Yeah.
because
Sure.
there are too many
I
of
want to
them, so
watch that as well because
I'd share it with you. Yeah.
sure, sure. Um, Last year was huge mishap. The pandemic like really hit us, and I feel the people who are affected more were the children to an extent because they missed out a year in their life where they could have
Yes,
played, made friends, and most importantly, they missed out on interaction in the classroom. And it's still
absolutely.
continuing in places. So, do you think this way of learning has been changed and the consumption of knowledge has been shifted? But it is still good. But do you think? How do you feel about it?
Uh, this is something which has both positive as well as negative. So one is e-learning, right?
Hmm.
Has tremendous potential. So
Hmm.
we have explored things which were not possible earlier, right? So like if you're not well or you're homebound, now you can attend schools
Hmm.
because of e-learning. Previously, you had
Yeah.
to be taken to school, so that's a positive. But at the same time,
Yeah.
you don't have the socialization which you had earlier. You don't have
Yeah.
the interpersonal communication skills development which you have earlier, right? So the most affected are the very young ones whom
Hmm.
uh, I believe didn't have the opportunity to go to school in the first place for the last 2 years, right? So I feel they are the most affected because not only that, they're not going out to play as well in the ground because of COVID, and it's very restrictive. So they're not getting it in school, they're not
Yeah.
getting it at home. At least earlier, small kids
Yeah.
who don't go out to play, they at least used to mingle in school. So that's missing out.
Yeah.
So I feel
Yeah.
in the future it's more of a hybrid sort of learning experience
Mm.
where you have both the house component as well as the school component, and
The
I,
class.
I see
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
working in the workplaces as well. I mean, these days even the workplaces are adopting to more of a hybrid environment. So
Mm.
so I believe that is the future
That's absolutely
where
true.
yeah. and wherein
Hmm.
you have both the options available. Whether you do e-learning
Wow.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
You told us that you love hiking, right?
Hmm.
So I want to ask you, because kids have been in front of the screens for a very long time.
Yes.
Even us, we've been in front of the screens for a very long time. What are few activities you suggest that
Hmm.
kids or parents should take time out to do in the day from away from the screen, so that they can keep their mental as well as body health in check?
Um, so there are a few simple things you could do, right? So you could take them for a walk when you go out for a walk, and that way you communicate with them, and you also keep them active, right? Second is you could play badminton or football, or if you have space, of course. Badminton doesn't take a lot of space, and you can play pretty much anywhere you want. I personally am pretty aggressive with my martial arts training, and I do kickboxing and Muay Thai
Okay.
quite a bit. So I've been doing it for the
Okay.
past 14
Okay.
years. So that keeps me a little busy
Wow.
every day. So in terms of workout, so that's a good distraction. It brings discipline, and it brings I mean, keeps you fit as well. Both it's like two birds in one stone, right? So that's that. So try to focus more on their the physical wellness. That's activity outdoors, wherein you have uh, fun at the same time. It's good for your body. So I feel that, and I don't know about mindfulness because I haven't really practiced it. So I've heard good
Okay.
things about it. So I believe that
Hmm.
that's good. But yeah, so
Yeah.
these are the things I do, and I see a lot of good come out of it. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I think it's safe to say that you need to have discipline first, so that you keep continuing to do what you're doing, and then the next thing is you have to have at least a little bit of physical activity in a day, so that you
Yes,
do something other than just sitting and doing your work or watching TV. So yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's a very good point, and I think more and more people should practice this. And well, coming to that, I want to ask you, because I know you're not a parent, but you've
Hmm.
seen a lot of parents, how they raise their children. There must be some things that even though you're not a parent, you might be in a position to say, give some tips. So what would be
Hmm.
few tips that you would give to the parents who are listening, so that according to your observation?
Okay, disclaimer, I'm not a child psychologist, so whatever I say is my opinions
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
So don't take it with pinch of salt, right? So that's
Yeah.
that's that's a disclaimer I give. So don't. So the first obvious thing is don't stress the kids too much. So if they're not interested to learn something, that means that you're not teaching them right. I mean, it's not taught in a way in which it is interesting to them. So that's what I feel. So you need to make it interesting. You need to make it appealing to them. So that's one. Teach them problem solving, not you don't teach them 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. You teach them take one apple and another apple, now you have two apples, right? So that's how you teach kindergartens, and they learn really quickly. They understand the basic concepts really quickly, and that approach needs to be applied throughout the education process. I'm not talking about just about like primary education or high school education. Even the graduate level education, you have some amazing professors who teach you a lot of interesting concepts in as simple as possible. So it's just if you know about Richard Feynman, so one of the most famous physicists, right? So if you listen to some of his lectures, they are probably one of the easiest to understand. So if you are in front of your machine, which you already are, you can check Royal Institute of Science,
Okay.
and you check their videos. They have some of the most complicated videos, which is
Hmm.
explained in such a way that even the kids can understand. right?
Wow.
So kid of age 10 can understand. They're talking about
Hmm.
quantum fields and quantum processes and various other things, and they're explaining it in a such a way that anyone can understand. So
Yeah.
teach it in a very interesting way where kids can get it.
Mhm.
One
Yeah.
very important key observation which I've made in the last 1.5 years, right, is kids need to have a learning space wherein they can go and sit and
Mhm.
learn. I mean, it could be a simple table and a chair in the corner of your house,
Mhm.
but there should be something where they go
Mhm.
and learn on a daily basis. It shouldn't be like, okay, I can sit anywhere I want
Of course.
and learn. So I feel
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
needs to be there. And okay, yeah, these are some
Yeah.
of my observation, and
Yeah.
maybe the tips I can
Yeah.
give. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I think you did not say anything wrong. I mean, I'm not a parent as well, but I have the same mindset as you, and I think this is very important because the sense of competition is like a little stressing. It was
yes,
stressing forever for us, and it is going to be stressing for them. And this world is getting so competitive that they can see it, they can understand it, and they can feel it that, oh, I'm not being good enough, and I'm not. And I think you're absolutely right when you say don't stress them out, let them have fun, let them learn on their own. And they have to have the and our founder always believes that you let them choose. You tell them these are the options, these are the apples, these are the oranges, these are the mangoes. You choose what you want. Don't try to feed them what you think is right for them. So I think you're absolutely right, Ahmed. So
that
yeah.
one also has a other side to it. There's this
Okay.
famous philosopher, I don't remember his name. He
Uh-huh.
said too many options makes you unhappy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have too many choices and you
Yeah.
don't know what to do, and you end up getting confused, and
Yeah.
you're more disappointed than you
Yeah.
started with. So
That started with,
too
yeah.
many options is also bad, because he's comparing them to a peasant of a
Mm.
middle age century, wherein
Mm.
his father was a peasant. He is a peasant. He doesn't have any
Yeah.
other choice. He is happy. He doesn't have to worry about his
Yeah.
profession. So
Yeah.
too many choices also stresses on the kids. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's what at least some of the philosophers believe. So
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
double-edged sword, I believe. But anyway, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to put
I'm
this
sure. I'm
in
sure.
right.
No, no, that's actually a very good point. At the end of the day, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, we are spoiled for choice. When we switch on Netflix or YouTube, we don't know what to end up watching. We might as well just that.
Yeah,
So, thank you so much, Ahmed,
you
for taking
also,
your time out on a Saturday when you're sick. I'm so sorry that you had to
no
do
problem.
this when you're sick. So, thanks a lot for talking with us, and thanks for sharing a lot of good insights about coding, about what you do, and your take on education system.
Thank you, Sai. It was wonderful talking to you. Anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to stop the recording now.